Hello, welcome to the GHL tutorial series on audit tools. So on PSS EMR, you have a number of tools that you can audit your users for privacy and security. And, some simple sort of HR monitoring and such like that. And these tools, there's 7 different searches that you can do that are canned and ready to go, and they can be found at under the main toolbar, which is, I'm sure you recognize this. And you go down to reports, go down to almost the bottom, and then you see all of these reports here: lack of use, frequently failed login audit, frequently accessed record, same patient last name, same name search, same user, same patient last name, and unmasking decision. So these all have a very specific thing that they look for, and there's a reason for it. And today we're going to cover the frequently failed login audit. Okay, so it's the second one down. Now, the frequently failed login could be an indicator that somebody else is trying to access that account by entering and re-entering passwords. It could be an indication of an internal security potential breach, or that there might even be an external attempt to access the account through the firewall. There is some value in accessing medical records, but we've had no reports of them since. But even still, it's good to keep your eye on. That if you may indeed find something suspicious. Now, just because somebody's name pops up on these reports doesn't necessarily indicate some sort of malfeasance or that they're up to some sort of something sinister is going on. It just might mean they forgot their password, or like me, you got fat fingers and you can't type properly sometimes, or you just can't remember your password. And that's usually what it is. It's a password management issue. But it could be something else. And also as well, you might want to check this to see if your user is attempting to log in occasionally, and if there is a requirement that they do use the system. I forgot my password, and but then you look and you see that there's actually no attempts to even make to log in. It's a little draconian, but who's not for me to say. All right, so I want to check the frequently failed login report. So that's what I'm going to do. So I go to reports on the main toolbar. Here it is here. And go down to audit and click on frequently failed login audit. Now, here you have the calendars, the period from, period to. I'm going to go to March 31st. What the heck? Click here, and I right click on the space here where it says June 1. Now today is not June 1, it's May 26th, but I think it defaults to the end of the month or the beginning of the next month. And here you'll see in the box, this is the current day. So what the heck? I'm going to go from March 31st to right up to now. So you kind of got a time period, end of the fiscal year to current date, whatever. You can do a month, a week, whatever you think is necessary. So I hit OK. And I get a report that looks like this. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick bit of sorting here. Bring this, and this is part of the report. And then what we're concerned with is this area in here. I have the user ID, so I don't have anybody really identified in here. And then last failed login, date and time, number of failed attempts. But also I included in here the IP address as well. So for those of you who are not so technically inclined, don't worry too much about this, but I'll attempt to explain what this does as well too. So number of failed attempts. Now every one of these rows is sortable. So as you can see, as I highlight them, it shows you which row your column. And if I click, it'll sort it in ascending or descending order. So it starts at the most amount of failed attempts, it goes down. So as you can see, there's a few that are fairly high, I would say, and it goes down lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, and then there's a whole bunch of them where there's one failed attempt. Like how many times have you logged in yourself and it's like, oh darn, I did it again. And then, like maybe your caps lock is on or something, who knows, all kinds of things could be going on. But it could also indicate that maybe somebody's trying out your password or something. You never know. But this is like, so sometimes you might want to check the higher ones to see what's going on. So I look here, and so there's 2 or 3 of them that are pretty high. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search by user ID now. I'm going to highlight the highest one, and I'm going to scroll down to it. And so here is the one 57, 43, and 5. So, this is quite a few times. I would probably, maybe just make a mental note of it. Now, don't forget, sometimes people are quite busy all day. They might have, depending upon the type of clinician it is, they might have people in and out of the office or whatever. And so what you can also do now, if you go to the other end over here where I have the IP address, this is a unique address that's given to each computer. So when you log on, this is what kind of says to the internet, hey, this is where I want my stuff sent, and this is where it's coming from. So when you scroll through here, you notice everyone has a similar address, 192.168, So we can kind of look at these and say, okay, this is from the same computer, this is from the same computer, and this is from a slightly different computer, but it has the same last 3 numbers. Or see the middle 3, 120, 120, which means it's in the same area. Okay, so sort of the higher up you go in those numbers to the left-hand side, you could be on a different network. And these last 3 numbers, what's called an octet, they're allocated dynamically. So I might be 120.116 one day, and then the next day I'll be 120.137. Yeah, it's every once in a while it refreshes your address, but sometimes it'll maintain it for a while. So with that said, don't forget the search function here, last failed attempt. So here, of course, is the date and then the number of failed attempts. Again, I'd like to underline that, it just unto itself, having a high number of failed attempts doesn't necessarily mean that there is some sort of nefarious activity going on. Like I say, it could be like myself too. I forget my password, and so you can just get it reset if you forget it, and anybody with admin controls. Now, if you do suspect suspicious activity, you can further back up this research, if you will, into what's going on by looking at the transaction logs, which you'll need administrative assistance for, and it gets a little more complex then, that we will get into that later on. So frequently failed login. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did talking about it. It's one of my favorite things, and have a good day.